Good morning, Ga. Is slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what we discussed in the previous class? In the previous class, I given the introduction to what? Inheritance relationship. What is inheritance relationship? What are the two main purpose of inheritance relationship? Then I explained about generalization, specialization. Then how the one class will inherit the properties from the other class, and I explained about the subclasses, superclasses, or base class and the derived class by considering this diagram. Then I explained about the how the class B inherits from class A, right? This also I explained. So here class B is not only inheriting the class A data, it also inherits the methods or the behaviors of the base class, right? That I also explained. And I explained the difference between the containment relationship and inheritance relationship, right? What is the difference between containment relationship and the inheritance relationship? Hmm? Is there any difference between containment relationship and inheritance relationship? Yes, Sarah? Hello? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ? Yes. My voice is audible, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now tell me the difference between containment relationship and the inheritance relationship. In the last class, I explained that. What is the difference between the containment and inheritance? Hmm? The same slide is visible here. The difference between the containment relationship and the inheritance relationship. Hmm? Now tell me the difference between containment relationship and inheritance relationship. Is my slide visible? Yes, Pranati? Is slide visible?
Yes, ma'am. Slide is visible.
Now tell me same the difference between containment relationship and inheritance relationship slide ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಇವತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಡೌಟ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ. ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆನ್ಸರೇ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಹ್ಮ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ಎಲ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್?
Yes, ma'am.
ನೌ ಟೆಲ್ ಮಿ ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. ಸಾಟರ್ಡೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ನಾಟ್ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ, ಸಾಟರ್ಡೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಹೇಳಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ. ಕಂಟೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಏನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್? ಎನಿಬಡಿ?
Ma'am, in inheritance relationship, the base class, derived class will get the properties of base class, also functionality. But in containment relationship, we won't get the functionality.
Yes, that is the major difference. So here, if you consider the containment relationship, then the derived class only consisting of the data part of the base class, right? But in the inheritance relationship, what happens? The derived class not only gets the copy of the data, but it also gets the basic functionality or the functionalities of the base class. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Base class functionality means what? So it can access the methods or the behaviors of the base class. That is the major difference between the containment and inheritance relationship. ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The containment, in the containment relationship, the derived class, what it will do? It will only consisting of the data part of the base class, and it doesn't consisting of any functionality or the behavior or the methods. Clear? But in inheritance relationship, the derived class not only gets the copy of the data, but it also can make use of the functionality of the base class. The functionality or the behavior or the methods the derived class can access from the base class. That is the difference between containment relationship and the inheritance relationship. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಈಗ? Yes, all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
ನನ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇರಬೇಡಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. Okay, so this I explained in the previous class, and after explaining this I explained about 3 different access areas. What are those? What are the 3 different accessing methods or accessing techniques? Basic question idu, answer ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು. ಪೃಥ್ವಿ, 3 basic accessing areas when we are using the inheritance relationship. What are the 3 basic access areas we are using or we are making use of it? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. What are the 3 basic access areas? Impana?
Ma'am, private
Yes.
protected one.
Yes, fine. Very good. So 3 basic access areas are, first one is public, second one is private, and third access area is the protected one. So I explained these 3, right? In this example, I explained. Here I explained about the private, protected, and the public. So if it is declared as a private area, then the private area is visible only to the implementers of class A. Here we are considering both the classes, class A and class B, where class A is the superclass and class B is the base class, right? And for class A, we declare it as a private, then this area is visible only to the implementers of A, and the protected area is visible to the implementers of A as well as to the implementers of the subclass, and the public, it is visible to the implementers and users of class A, and also it is visible to the implementers of subclass B, right? Similarly, for class B, if we declare it as private, then the private area is visible only to the implementers of B, whereas the protected area will be visible to the implementers of B and also the implementers of any subclass of B. Means if we derive some other class from class B, then that class implementers can also see the protected area of class B. And whereas the public area, it is visible to the implementers and users of class B. So these things I explained in the last class, right? And this also explained, right? Suppose here we have the 2 classes, class A and class B, where class B is inheriting from class A. As I said, when we are using the inheritance relationship, class B not only gets the copy of data copy of the class A, but it also can make use of the behavior or the functionality of class A. See here, class A is having 3 different functions, F1, F2, and F3, whereas class B is having the functions F4 and F5. Even though it is having only 2 methods or the functions, so what the class B can do, it can access the functions of class A, that is F1, F2, F3, and it can execute as its own. Okay, and this is the advantage of using the inheritance property. So here the class B can access the functionality or the methods of class A, because class B is the derived class or the subclass of class A. This I explained in the previous class, right? So today we are going to study about overriding base class methods in the derived class. Next, we are going to study about the heuristics related to this. So first you need to know overriding base class methods in the derived class. So as we know that the object-oriented designers uses the inheritance property, and when they are using the inheritance property, they are going to add the specialization relationship, and that is not behaviorally compatible to the superclass. Means see here, when the derived class or we have the class A and class B, right? Here the class B is the derived class. So when class B is inheriting the properties or the data from the class A, along with inheriting the data and the functionality, the class B is going to add its own specialization relationship in that particular class itself, where that is not behaviorally compatible in the superclass A. Means what it indicates. So what is the overriding or adding the specialization relationship? So adding the specialized relationship implies that the user wishes to override the definition of a base class message with his or her own algorithm, and this is allowable within the framework of specialization and is called as an overriding method. So if we consider this, so here we search to override the definition of a base class message with this or our own algorithm. See here, if we consider this example, here the class B overrides the functions. Let us consider that the class B overrides the function F2. Okay, means when it is overriding this function, it can add its own specialization to that particular method or the message, and that is called as overriding of the function. See here, B, since class B is the subclass of class A, hence it can inherit or it can make use of the class A functionality, right? So when it is using the class A functions, along with using that, it can add its own definition to the function that it inherits from the base class, and that is called as overriding method. Okay, and that is called as overriding. Understood? Artha aita what is overriding? Yes. What is overriding? Yes. Following all of you, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ನೀವು 8 ಜನನು ಇದೀರಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಮೈ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಡಿಬಲ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್?
Yes, ma'am.
Then tell me, I explain overriding, right? Then what it is? So here we'll consider the same example. Here class A is having set of methods F1, F2, F3. Class B is having the set of methods F4 and F5. Since class B is the subclass of class A, so it can inherit the functionality from class A, so that the class B can make use of the functions F1, F2 and F3. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇದು? Yes. Suppose let us consider that class B is accessing or executing F2, or it is accessing the F2 from class A. While accessing, it can make some corrections or some modification to this function F2 while executing, and that is called as overriding of the method or overriding of the function. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Here for specialization, yes, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಿಲ್ಲ? ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? See here, the derived class cannot eliminate the message of the base class, but the derived class can change the method that defines them. That is called as overriding method. So if we consider the same example, see here, class B is accessing F2. Okay, so while accessing, it can modify that message while executing that. Okay, but so for the function class A function F1, F2, F3 is there. There is no updation of those functions by the class B. But while executing in its class, the class B can update or modify that function according to its requirement and can it execute it. And that is called as overriding of the method. And that is done through the specialization property. Understood? See here, this indicates what it is. So specialization implies that the user wishes to override the definition of a base class method with his or own algorithm. And for the specialization property, the derived class cannot eliminate the messages of the base class. So here, if you consider the base class messages as F1, F2, F3, then the derived class cannot eliminate those messages, but it can update or change those methods in the derived class itself. And that is called as overriding of base class methods in derived class. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಈಗ?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Most object-oriented language supports the calling of the base class methods from the overriding derived method. So here, as I said, here the base subclass can override the functions from the base class. So what it will do while overriding, it only modifies the functions which are available in the class A, and the base subclass will not eliminate or delete those functions. See here, for class A we have three functions F1, F2, F3. Then class B cannot eliminate these functions which are present in the base class. Okay, because class B is inheriting them, right? So they can, the class B can inherit those functions, and the class B can modify those three functions, and the class B cannot eliminate these functions, and this is called as overriding of the method from base class to the derived class. Understood? So this is called as overriding base class methods in derived class. And this is important because many times a designer has added data members to the derived class and wishes to handle their functionality at the derived class level. So here, when the class B derives the functions from class A, then the designer can add additional data members to the derived functions from the base class. Here, that if the class B derives F1, F2, F3, then what the class B implementer can do? The class B implementer can add additional data members to these functions F1, F2, and F3. Okay, and once again, it is possible in the overriding technique. Clear? So after handling the new data, the designer delegates up to the base class to let it handle its own data. Understood? So once the functionality are derived into the subclasses, then the subclasses will make use of those functionality by adding the additional data members. But these belongs to the subclass itself, whereas the original functions are in the base class itself, then the base class can make use of those functions. Clear? So this is about overriding base class methods in derived classes. So for example, see here, I'm considering for the F2 function. Now the class A is there, class B is there, class A is the base class and class B is the derived class, right? So class B is deriving the class A data as well as its functionality. Then let us consider that. So here we are discussing about the overriding of the base class behavior. So now we have three functions F1, F2, F3, and all three functions can be inherited by class B, right? So while inheriting this, then the class B can make use of the overriding property. So in the overriding property, what the class B will do? The class B overrides the original functions of class A, and it can add additional data members to these functions. Okay, and can execute these functions. Now, if I consider for only F2, then F2 is taken from the class A because class A is the base class. Once it takes it, it can means class B can add the additional data members to the function F2 or to the message F2, and that can be executed. So original copy is always available with the base class, clear. But the subclass can inherit that functions, and it can add the additional data members, or it can change this message or the function according to class B requirement, and that is called as overriding base class behavior in derived class. Understood? Any doubt in this? Yes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next, one more important property in inheritance is the transitivity property. So what is transitivity property? Let me see that. So here the class B inherits from class A, right? Then class C inherits from class B. In turn, it indicates that class C is inheriting the data and property from class A, and this is called as transitivity of inheritance. Understood? What is transitivity of inheritance? Now see here, class A is the superclass, class B is the subclass of class A. Why? Because class B is inheriting the properties and data from class A. Similarly, class C is inheriting the properties from class B. Right. So when class C is inheriting from the class B, in turn class C is inheriting the data and the behavior from class A. Now, this is called as the transitivity of inheritance. In the transitivity of inheritance, at a time, a class can be a subclass or the class can be a superclass. So here, simultaneously, the class becomes the subclass as well as the superclass. How? Let us consider this here. The class B becomes the subclass for class A and becomes the superclass for class C. Why? Because class C is inheriting from class A. Understood? So here in the transitivity of inheritance, the one class, that is class B is simultaneously acting as the subclass and the superclass. So the class B is acting as a subclass for class A, and it is acting as a superclass for class C. Understood? Right? Clear? So here class B is a special type of class A. Similarly, class C is a special type of class A. In turn, class C is the special type of class A by transitivity. So yes, in mathematics you studied the transitivity property, right? ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಾ transitivity property? ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಆರ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್? My voice is audible or not? Pranati? Pranati?
Audible, ma'am.
Clear ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸಾರಾ? My voice is clearly audible or not?
Yes, ma'am.
ಏನು ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಏನೋ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ? My voice is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
ಓಕೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
Yes, ma'am.
ಉಳಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇರ್ಬೇಡಿ ನೀವು. ಸುದೀಪ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the transitivity of inheritance is over. So in the transitivity of inheritance, one class, that is class B, simultaneously becomes the subclass for class A and superclass for class C. So this is about the overriding of the base class methods in derived class, and also the transitivity of inheritance. We'll see the heuristic for the overriding of base class. So inheritance heuristic 5.1 says that inheritance should be used only to model a specialization hierarchy. So what the heuristic 5.1 says, inheritance should be used only to model a specialization hierarchy. So here You already studied the containment relationship and the inheritance relationship, right? So here we are calling the containment relationship as the black box design, whereas the inheritance relationship as the white box design. Why? We'll see that. So here, the containment relationship defines a black box design where the users of a class need not know about the implementation details of the class. Suppose let us consider that class B consisting of class A members, then class B need not worry about the implementation details of class A, and that is called as the black box design. Means the implementation details are not important here, so simply the classes can make use of the objects, right? Or can simply inherit the properties, right? So here the in the containment relationship, one class may consisting of objects of another class. When the class consisting of objects of another class, it can simply make use of those objects, right? Without worrying about the implementation details, and that is called as the containment relationship, or the containment relationship which defines the black box design. Understood? But in the inheritance relationship, when the classes inherits the data members or the functionality from other classes, they have to worry about the implementation details also. So for example, here if you consider class A and class B and class C, so here we'll see the containment relationship as well as the inheritance relationship. So in the containment relationship, what happens? The class is simply consisting of the data members of class B. That's all. It is not worrying about the implementation details. Then it is said to be a containment relationship. But in the inheritance relationship, what happens? Class C not only inherits the data members, it also inherits the functionality. Right. Along with that, it is also worrying about the implementation details of class B. Okay. So then it is said to be the inheritance relationship which is defining the white box testing. So in the white box testing, classes are worrying about the implementation details, whereas in the containment relationship or in the black box testing, the classes are not worrying about the implementation details. So that is the main thing here. So the containment relationship defines a black box design where the users of the class need not know about the implementation dependent on the internal classes, whereas the inheritance relationship defines the black box design due to the inheritance of functionality. Means in order to know which message can be sent to a derived class, I need to see the classes it inherits. Okay, see here, if I want to know which messages can be sent to a derived classes, then I need to know, or I need to see the classes it inherits. Means here, if the class A is the superclass here, so if it wants to know which messages are sent to be the class B or to the subclass, then it must know which classes are inherits from class A. Okay, class A must know which classes are inherits from class A, and means it must know the implementation details of the derived classes. Then this is called as the white box testing with respect to the inheritance relationship. So when we're talking about the specialization, so specialization cannot be effectively defined with the help of the black box design, because here we are not dealing with the implementation details. Hence, specialization cannot be shown effectively with the black box design, but the opening of design details is allowable for this type of abstraction. So only they can see the design details or the implementation details. So this is about heuristic 5.1. So inheritance should be used only to model a specialization hierarchy. So when we are modeling the specialization hierarchy, then it leads to the inheritance relationship, and we are defining the white box design there. Means we are using the white box design and in order to get the implementation details of the classes. So this is about heuristic 5.1, and we will see heuristic 5.2 what it says. So heuristic 5.2 says that derived class must have knowledge of their base class by definition, but the base class should not know anything about their derived classes. So here if you consider class A, class B and class C, class A is the base class, whereas the class B is the derived class for class A. And if we consider class C is the derived class for class B. Here, and the base classes should not have any knowledge about their derived classes, whereas the derived classes must have the knowledge of their base class. Why? Because the base derived classes are inheriting from the base classes, right? Hence, the derived class must know what the base class consisting of, or the derived class must have the knowledge of the base class. If the derived class having the knowledge of the base class, then only they can inherit the data members or the functionality. So if base classes have knowledge of their derived classes, then it is implied that if a new derived class is added to the base class, then the code of the base class will need modification. This is undesirable dependency between the abstraction captured in the base and derived classes. Why? Because here, as I said, according to heuristic 5.2, the derived classes must have the knowledge of base classes, and base classes should not be, right? Why? Because if we go on adding the number of subclasses to the base class, then then the base class A must know what all the subclasses are derived from class A. If more number of subclasses are derived from class A, then maintaining the information about all these classes is difficult for superclass. Yes, it is not the desirable property for the base class. Hence, only the subclasses must know the knowledge of base classes, whereas the base classes need not worry about the details of derived classes. If you want to do that, then this is the undesirable property that the base class should not have it up. It is the undesirable property or the undesirable dependency for the base class. So this is about heuristic 5.1 and 5.2. Next, we'll see the use of protected section of a base class. So here to discuss about the protected section of a base class. So here, if it is declared as a protected section, then who can see that the protected area can be visible to the implementers of the base class as well as to the implementers of derived class. Now you understood? So if we declare it as a protected area, then the protected area is visible for the implementers of the base class and the implementers of derived class. You keep that in mind. So next we'll see the example. Now let us consider that. So many times we discussed class A and class B, right? So here we'll consider class A as the fruit class and class B is the apple class that is derived from the fruit class A. Clear? Now, when we define the fruit class, then the fruit class have two data members. One is called as the weight and other one is the color. Where the weight is declared as real and the color of the fruit is declared as string. Okay, string color is string and weight of the fruit is the real number. Now assume that we have the derived class B is the apple class that contains the additional data member variety apple variety, that is the additional data member present in apple class or in the class B, whereas the class C consisting of what? It consisting of two data members, weight and color, where weight is declared with respect in terms of real and color in terms of string. Right. Now we have one more class, that is the apple class derived from the base class fruit that contains the additional data member variety. So variety is the additional data member in apple class. Now, should apple objects be able to see their own weight? Now, weight and color is declared in class A and class B only additional data member we have. So, it access the data members of class A. Along with that, it is having one more additional member called as variety. Now, my question is, should apple objects be able to see their own weight? Or if ask in another type, we'll see that should the weight data member of the fruit class be in the protected section? Can you answer these two questions? Should Apple objects can see their own weight? Is it possible? Is it possible? Prithvi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is possible. Why? Because here we are using the inheritance property. So Apple class inherits from the fruit class and it can see its own weight. So Apple objects can see their own weight. Clear? So, and if we make the weight as the protected data member, then we are stating that if the weight data member needs to change in the future, then we are willing to examine all the methods of derived classes as well as the methods of the base class. See here, we declare it as a data member in the fruit class itself. Weight is declared as a data member in the class itself or in the fruit class itself. And Apple class, since we are using the inheritance property here, Apple class inherits the fruit class so that Apple class can make use of the data member weight. But if we make the weight as the protected data member, then if you want to modify that weight data member, then what happens? So when we're modifying this, so then we have to check the methods of the derived classes as well as the methods of the base class. Then this leads to the weakening of data hiding and we need to avoid such type of data hiding. So then what is the alternate we can use so that the Apple class can also make use of the weight data member? We'll see that in the next. Now, so we'll see how it can be done. Before that, we'll see the heuristic for the user protected this section. All data in a base class should be provided, do not use the protected data. So we are considering the same example here. So we are using the weight data member, right? If we declare it as protected, what happens? We'll see that. So for that heuristic is there, that is all data in a base class should be provided, do not use protected data. If we use that as a protected data, what happens? We'll see that. Why do I want to make the weight of the fruit protected? If I make it as a protected one, so then what happens? Here the Apple class can make use of it. Or Apple class can, or the objects of Apple class can see their weights, right? So because here the Apple class is overriding the print method of fruit with its own print method. Now, so the Apple simply, or the Apple object simply prints the message like this. I am an apple and I am weighing 0.3 pounds or in terms of kg or grams, if we say that I'm weighing 100 grams, 200 grams like that. Clear? So in order to define this function at the Apple level, I need to access to the weight because see, I am displaying the Apple weight. To display the Apple weight, what I need the data member weight, which is declared in the fruit class, right? And here the Apple class must make use of that weight data member in order to display the weight of the apple. So if that is the case, then why not let the fruit class handle this behavior here? Because that is weight is declared in the fruit class itself, then why not let the fruit class handle this behavior? Because the fruit class is not supposed to know any derived class specific data. Why? Because see here, the heuristic, what heuristic 4.1 and 4.2 says that the derived class must have the knowledge of their base class, but the base class should not have. So if that is the case, means heuristic 5.2 says that only the derived class should have the knowledge of base class and the reverse should not be, right? And here what happens, here the apple, to display the weight of the apple, we need the data member which is present in the fruit class. And hence by using the inheritance property, Apple class can display the weight. But why the fruit class handle this behavior? Because the fruit class is not having the idea about or not having any knowledge about the derived class or derived class specific data. When stuck in such cases, it is best to create a protected access function called getWeight, which simply returns the weight data member. So instead of directly using the weight data member in the derived class, we can make use of the accessor method such as the get function. So we can use the accessor function such as the get function in order to get the weight data member. In this case, the methods of Apple are dependent only on the protected interface of fruit and not on the implementation of fruit. So if we directly access the weight data member, then what happens? Then the derived class must know the implementation details of the class A, but that should be avoided. In order to avoid that, instead of accessing the weight data member directly, we can make use of the accessor function, that is get weight. Okay, by using this we can access the weight data member, so that the here then what happens, the methods of Apple are dependent only on the protected interface of fruit and not the implementation details of the fruit class. Hence the protected interface of fruit is much easier to maintain than the implementation details. We'll see this diagram. See, here we have the fruit class and the apple class. In this case, so first what happens, here the weight is declared as a protected member. Then if we do like this, what happens, this leads to the poor design, because when the Apple class inheriting the weight data member, then what happens, the Apple class is uh, accessing the implementation details of the fruit class. That should be avoided. So in order to avoid that, instead of accessing the weight data member directly, what we can do is we can make use of the get weight accessor function. So here, instead of accessing the weight data members, we are making use of the accessing function. Through the accessing function, Apple is inheriting or accessing the weight data member, and this leads to the good design, whereas this is the poor design. Why? Because here the derived this makes the derived class accessing the implementation details of the fruit class. So we have to avoid that. To avoid that, instead of accessing the data member directly, what the fruit class will do, it encourages to make use of the accessing function called as getWeight. So through the getWeight accessing function, the Apple class inherits the data member weight. Understood? So this is called as the good design, whereas this is the poor design. Why? In the poor design, Apple class is allowed to access the implementation details of fruit class. So this leads to the poor design. In order to avoid that, instead of accessing the data members directly, we are making use of the access function called as getWeight. So through the getWeight, Apple access the weight data member in the protected section. So this is about heuristic 5.3. Next we'll see the width and depth of inheritance hierarchy. So in the case of containment hierarchy, we have defined what is the maximum number of classes the containment relationship consisting of. It is the maximum number of classes the containment relationship consisting of is limited to 6. Then here in the inheritance hierarchy, we'll see what is the maximum number of classes or the inheritance levels the inheritance relationship can have. So here we are discussing about the width and depth of inheritance hierarchy. So before discussing that, we know that for the containment relationship, the maximum number of classes is limited to 6. If you add more number of classes or more number of data members, then it leads to the increasing complexity in the containment relationship, hence the number is limited to 6. But is this reasonable for the inheritance relationship or inheritance hierarchy? No, because Adding a new derived type of fruit to our inheritance hierarchy does not increase the complexity of existing classes. So here if we consider this, so fruit is there. If we add apple, and for the apple we can add one more subclass, or for the fruit class itself we can add more number of subclasses, like one is there, apple is already there, we can have the mango, one more class, banana, grapes, like that we can go on adding more number of subclasses to the fruit class, right? But the uh, even if you add more number of derived classes to the fruit class, it will not add the complexity to the inheritance relationship. So if there is any heuristic on the width of the inheritance hierarchy, it should be the wider the hierarchy, the better. Because here, if we go on adding different fruit varieties, then we have to create more number of subclasses. Then the complexity will not be increased. So as the inheritance hierarchy is wider, then it would be a better one. Because a wide hierarchy implies that many classes are taking advantage of the abstraction captured in the base class, right? And normally here we are considering in the case of heuristic. Okay, so before that we'll see. So normally we can add more number of base classes to the more number of derived classes to the base classes, because the advantage is many classes are taking the advantage of abstraction captured in the base class. Yeah. And here we know that adding the new derived type of fruit to our inheritance hierarchy does not increase the complexity of the existing classes. Why? Because each derived class is independent of other class, and the base class should be independent of all the derived classes. Here if you go on adding number of subclasses to this, so for example if I add the banana class or the grape class or one more class kiwi, like that, so I can add more number of derived class to the fruit class, whereas all the derived classes are depending on the base class fruit. But it is not necessary that fruit class need to be depending on the derived class. It is not necessary. Okay. So here only the derived classes are depending on the base class, but not the base class is depending on the derived class. As we can add more and more number of derived classes to the existing base class. And each inheritance link is removing redundant design and implementation effort. Okay, so this is about the width and depth of inheritance hierarchy. Is in the containment relationship, the number is limited to 6, but that is not the case in the case of inheritance hierarchy. So in the inheritance hierarchy, we can go on adding more number of derived classes. The advantage is all the derived classes captures the abstraction which is present in the base class. And when we are go on adding the derived classes, then what happens? Each inheritance link is removing the redundant design and implementation effort. The heuristic 4.4 is 5.4 is for the width and depth of inheritance hierarchy. So heuristic 5.4 says that inheritance hierarchy should be deep, the deeper the better. Means if the inheritance hierarchy is deeper, then it gives a better relationship. So for example, they have considered the kiwi fruit. So it is better to have a kiwi inherit from the tropical fruit from the Pacific Rim, which inherits from tropical fruit. So, or if you consider an example of a mango, okay. So, if you consider the example of a mango, we have varieties of mango fruit, right? So, if you consider the raspberry, it is a one type of mango variety, right? So then this raspberry fruit should inherit the property from the mango fruit rather than inheriting directly from the fruit class, right? So here we are adding the hierarchy at a different level. Clear? All of you following it? So here for the fruit class, we have the mango is the subclass. For the mango, we will have one more subclass called as raspberry or one more subclass called as alfonso, right? And these raspberry variety inherits the property from mango rather than directly inheriting from the fruit class, because as we move down the hierarchy, then the abstraction is more or more and more abstraction is captured. Understood. Hence, as we move down the hierarchy, then the inheritance leads to a better inheritance relationship. Understood. So, the motivation behind this heuristic is that by having a deep taxonomy of abstractions, a new derived class can design the hierarchy, taking an more refined abstractions the deeper it travels. Means, as we go on adding the hierarchies or go on adding the derived classes to the existing base classes, then more abstractions can be captured from the base classes. So that is the advantage. Means we need to have the deeper and deeper inheritance hierarchy. And 5.6 says that in practice, inheritance hierarchy should be no deeper than an average person can keep his or short-term memory. A popular value for this depth is 6. So here, like the containment relationship, here we are defining the depth of the hierarchy and the maximum number is fixed or the popular value is defined as 6. Why? Because it is related to the human being short-term memory. So human being can remember up to 6 levels of hierarchy. For that purpose, they are telling that the popular value is 6. But in the different studies says that the inheritance relationship can be defined up to 12 or up to 17 levels. Okay, so several project developers use the deeper is better hierarchy or deeper is better philosophy when designing their object oriented systems. So implementers getting lost in their deep inheritance hierarchy. So here the hierarchy is between 12 to 17. And these developers redesigned their system to take a less refined collection of abstractions with inheritance hierarchies that were only 5 to 7 levels in the depth. Why? Because this value is based on the short-term memory of the person, right? So normally the human being can remember up to 5 to 7 levels. Hence, the popular value is defined as 6. But in some implementers have designed inheritance hierarchy up to 12 to 15 levels. So all project developers found these depths to be better. Okay, only they are fixing 5 to 7. So all the developers says that that is better. Why they are not going behind 7 levels or behind 6 levels? Because due to the non-availability of the automated tool in order to extract the inheritance hierarchy. So since the tools or automated tools are not available, hence the inheritance hierarchy they are going to fix it for 6 to 7 levels. If automated levels are available in order to extract the inheritance hierarchy, then the designer may go up to 70 levels. So this is about heuristic 5.5. So this is about today's class. What we discussed in the today's class. Yes, I have started with the overriding base class methods in derived classes and heuristic related to that. And afterwards, I explained about the use of protected section of a base class, then the heuristic related to that. And afterwards, the width and the depth of inheritance hierarchies. So this is about today's class. If you have any doubt, you can ask. If you no doubt, I will conclude my class. If you have any doubt,
No, ma'am.
yes. Uldoril, only 5 members are there in the class. What about others? Niharika is there. What about Sara is there? BB Afsa not connected? She
No,
connected.
ma'am, she's having some
She's
connectivity issues.
connecting issues.
Yes, ma'am.
But she has to attend the classes, right? Okay. If you have any doubt, Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, then
No,
I'll
ma'am.
end my class. Okay, I'll conclude my class then. Goodbye.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.